Good day, everyone. My name is Cristian Camilo Restrepo, and we will talk about the task one main concepts with the tutor John Freddy Sanchez Hernandez. In the English phonetics course, and here I have my infographic about the topic phonetics and phonology. Well, we will speak about the definition or concept. Phonetics and phonology. Phonetics. What is phonetics? What is the phonetics? Phonetics, phonetics is a scientific description of what the speech sounds seeks in a language. It represents how they are produced and perceived and what acoustic properties they have. Well, in this sense, the phonetics speaks or talk about the way that the sounds go out of R. For example, the phonemes T, D, etc., etc. In this sense, we have the articulatory features, and phonetics essentially seeks to trace the processes involved in sound production. It describes the ways the sounds are produced and the points at which they are articulated. For example, the tongue, the lips, and other places, uh, the glottis, etc., etc. One example of this is the T is phonetically described as a pulmonic aggressive, voiceless, alveolar plosive. What this means is that the air stream coming out from the lungs or lungs initiated the sound. The vocal folds did not vibrate in the course of its production. This is one example about how the this phoneme uh, goes out of R. For example, we have different phonemes T, D, P, D, A, M, N, and each one have a different way to to be in our to be in the language to be in the language. Well, the blade of the tongue had contact with the teeth, which the alveolar. This contact created a total obstruction of the air stream coming from the lungs. This air stream was suddenly released, thus creating an explosion. These are the phonetic characteristics of the sound. Here we describe this sound or this phoneme. Well, we will continue with the definition or concept of phonology. Phonology is concerned with the regularities that govern the phonetic realizations of sounds in words of a language. It looks at and tries to establish a system of sound distinctions relevant to a particular language. That change depending the context, depending the language, and is different with its particularities. And in the particular articulatory features, it then seeks to determine how the elements of this abstract system behave in actual speech. Phonology actually delineates the functioning of sounds in particular contexts. For example, how to use the T phoneme when there are other words. For example, is there are vowels or there are consonants. This word can change the way to say it. For example, when it's with the consonant D, P, is L. It's different that when have other, for example, vowels, vowel E, O, A. One example of this. Thus, phonetically, C can be realized with aspiration in the initial position of a stressed syllable. That is when T comes before other sounds in a stressed syllable. It can be realized as being lateralized when it immediately followed by the lateral L. It can also become nasalized if its closest succeeding neighbor is a nasal, especially the alveolar nasal N, which is a homorganic sound. Thus, we see the phoneme T realized phonetically as. We have some examples about the change. We have in tape, kettle, kitten, and Tion in other position as in Kate. And this change, depending the other letters in the sign, the context, and how we can see this change. Phonetics and phonology. What is the difference of these topics of this? We have said that phonetics describes the physical realization of sounds. It studies the physiological processes involved in sound production. The parts, the necessary elements to say it sounds or determine a sound. And phonology, on the other hand, looks at the behavioral patterns of sounds in actual speech, their realizations, realizations in different environments, whatsoever this may be. Phonetics is, for other way, is thus concerned with sound production, while phonology studies sound behavior in realization. We could safely say that this is a close about the it's a conclusion about the difference of these topics. We could safely say that phonetics describes the production process involved in physical sounds, while phonology and physical sounds, for example, the part that is ubicated, the articulated, for example, the tongue, the top of the mouth, the lips, glottis, etc., etc. And while phonology describes the environmental factors that shape these sounds in particular points of occurrence that I said that can change depending the environmental factors. Well, articulators involved in the sound production. Points of the articulation. We have different points as nasal cavity, hair plate, soft palate, epiglottis, lips, teeth, tongue, vocal cords. Of each one of these elements produce different kinds of sounds. Uh, it's different to use the lips in in a consonant that don't use the lips. Well, the major points of the articulation of English sounds include bilabial. The two lips usually come together to articulate this sort of sounds. Examples are P, B, M. Labiodental, the lower tip normally comes in contact with the upper front teeth to articulate the sounds. Example are F, V. This is the description of we use the different elements. Dental, the tip of the tongue makes contact with the upper teeth. Examples, we have some examples. Alveolar, the blade or tip and blade of the tongue come in contact with the teeth reach to articulate the sounds. Examples, some examples are TDL and S. Palato-alveolar, the blade or tip and blade of the tongue come in contact with the alveolar ridge, and there is also the raising of the front of the tongue towards the hard palate. Examples are, we have some examples, what palatal, velar, glottal. Secondary, well, there are other secondary articulations. Uh, these articulations are velarization, labialization, palatalization, or nasalization, in addition to the primary points of articulation. These points. Well, I have a small chart with some phonemes, with the description of the phonemes. We have different ways: plosive, affricate, nasal, turbal, and fricative, and others that describe the different sound, the different phonemes: bilabial, P, PM, labiodental, FV, dental, alveolar, palate. Well, I did this chart with the description of the phoneme of the phonemes and the articulators involved in this production are. These are some characteristics. These are some features of each one phoneme. In the first one, M, pulmonic, aggressive, voiced, nasal, nasal. And the part of articulation is the two lips. M. D, pulmonic, aggressive, voiced, oral, plosive. The place of articulation is the tongue, blade, and the alveolar. V, pulmonic, aggressive, V, pulmonic, aggressive, voiced, oral, fricative. And the medication, the site we can we can find it is a lower lip and upper teeth, labiodental. And this is my infographic with one with my board. I hope you like it and hope you see you soon. Well, bye bye.